Hey everyone, welcome to Just Win with Wanda, a podcast designed to highlight people and their game winning passions. Hi everyone, so thanks for tuning in. I'm excited for our guests today. They hold a special place in my heart. They are the world famous Johnson twins from Surrey County, Virginia. They happen to be my friends, former classmates at Hampton and Soares. And honestly, it's just an honor to be with Hampton royalty. If you went to Hampton between 2011 and 2015, you definitely know who I am here with. So the first guest is Whitney Johnson. She is the owner of The Story House, which is a creative agency that leverages media and marketing to deliver life-changing messages. And I'm also here with her twin, Britney Johnson, who's an innovative professional whose work lies at the intersection of culture, technology, and social impact. So, Brittany is a doctoral researcher at the Georgia Institute of Technology. So, as you can see, although they're twins, they have separate separate identities, separate career paths, but there's definitely something that they have in common, and that's to change the world. So, it's an honor again to have them, and welcome to the show.
Thanks, Wanda. Thanks for having us. Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
thank you.
problem.
Thank you so much. We're excited. Definitely excited to be here and reminisce on old times. So,
Yeah, speaking of old times, so as I mentioned, we all graduated from Hampton University, the real HU.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to attend an HBCU?
Yeah, I think looking back, which is crazy to say, it's like almost 10 years ago, right? That's so wild. 10 years ago when we were choosing our the university that we wanted to attend, like we were very active in high school. We played sports, we had good grades, we did a lot of things. So we kind of wanted to carry that to college. And we were looking for a well-rounded school. And I know some basketball scholarships were thrown our way. But ultimately, we decided to choose the academic route, and we got a scholarship at Hampton. We visited on high school day, like many high schoolers do, and we're like, "Look, this is like a different world. The fashion, like the people, the Black culture. Even though we went to a predominantly Black high school, it was just something about like walking the campus and seeing, all these beautiful people from so many different places. It just like hit us hard. And and Hampton was well rounded, right? It's good, Hampton has good programs, good sports team. So it was just, it was like a perfect match. And looking back, I'm glad we made that decision.
just to add to that, I think that, Whitney touched on it. We knew we wanted to go to school together as well. So that was a joint decision that we made together. And like she said, high school day was it sealed the deal. But I think one thing that I do remember during new student orientation week, when we were in Ogden and going through some of the seminars and orientation events, it also confirmed to me that this was the place that we made the right decision. This is where we wanted to be. We knew a few alum of Hampton from Surrey County. And so we knew their journeys and them telling us their stories. And it was just perfect fit. And this is one of the best decisions I can say we both have made thus far.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I remember when I came to visit Hampton, and it's kind of magical. I don't know if you all would agree with that. Maybe it's the way that the water touches the
Yeah.
light, and it's perfect weather. It wasn't raining. It just, I don't know. It sucks you right in. But I would have to
Yep.
agree with the fact that it just felt very majestic, and it felt like a utopia of some sort of Black excellence, and I definitely wanted to be a part of that. And I remember when I got the letter, I don't know if you guys remember, from the institute saying that I was accepted into the Leadership Institute. Do you guys remember getting that letter?
I'm trying to
Yeah,
think.
I
Do you
remember.
remember any?
I remember. Yep. Yep. I
Okay.
remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so how did you guys feel about that? Did you think it was going to elevate your experience?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I mean, I do remember because it's been so long ago, and I know I probably should remember, but Yeah, I feel like, one, the obvious, it came with the scholarship. So that was a good thing.
Oh, true.
And then two,
Right.
yeah, like, we heard about the Leadership Institute and we heard how prestigious it was. And even it being named after Dr. Harvey, it was just kind of like, oh, okay, like, we're already hitting the ground running in this prestigious, organization of young leaders. So I definitely felt an honor to be in it. And then, it was just like a core group. We came in with our own class and we stuck through it together. So it was like a family. But yeah, I felt proud to be accepted.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the same. I remember getting a letter, us applying first and then getting a letter and was so excited. And I think one time we had came back to visit Miss T and she was telling us how much, we came in first as freshmen, we were like these quiet country girls. And then, but our senior year, we couldn't stop talking. So yeah, it's just definitely, was an exciting moment for us to receive the letter and then be a part of the Leadership Institute and us meeting you there and, developing a relationship and a friendship that I believe will last a lifetime. So yeah, I love my leadership family and it was definitely a great experience.
Yeah, it's so nice to see everyone excel in our own fields. And I think that's what's so nice about the Institute is that they picked individuals from different majors and we were able to cultivate our leadership capabilities. But now we're really seeing that play out, as we are older and leaders within organizations or entrepreneurs. It's really nice to see how far we've come in 10 years. And I remember when I remember it was our first day of class. It was like 7 a.m. For some reason at the time, they had these leadership classes at 7 a.m.
Yes.
But I remember you guys introducing yourselves and you're like, yeah, we're from Surrey County. You knew who the Johnson twins were by your voice, by, the things that you did on campus, but definitely on that first day, your accent definitely stuck with me.
Wanda, I can't believe you remember us. Like, I don't even remember that. Do I? I think I remember the first day probably, but yeah, that's crazy. That's funny. Yeah, I feel like when we walked on campus, we made sure everyone knew we were from Surrey County. Like, I don't know, people probably did not know where it was. Like most people didn't, but it was like, okay, we're from Surrey County, Virginia. This is who we are. That was definitely our brand, I guess, walking on this campus.
Yep, that was
Yeah.
definitely your brand for sure. And we had to find out where Surrey County was. And I'm sure, the folks coming out of Surrey County now, they don't have a hard time, knocking down those doors at Hampton because people know where Surrey County is because of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes me smile. That's a good memory. I definitely think my accent has evolved for sure. So that's why I think it's funny. Just how, over the years that, our accent is not as strong, but it's still strong when we go home. So yeah, those are great memories.
Yeah. So I know you all were very busy on campus. And when I say busy, I mean extremely busy because we also stayed in the same dorm. And I remember late nights, you'll see you guys up studying or coming back from practice or something. Um, what would you say was the highlight of your HBCU experience?
Wow, that's a tough question. I would say the involvement. I would definitely say us being involved, even though we were highly involved in a lot of different things. I think that really shaped our experience at Hampton. So not only were we a part of Leadership Institute, but also the Student Leadership Program, Honors College. We started a mom ministry on campus. And so those were things that like really helped us to see and learn the ins and outs of Hampton. So like, administration, how processes go, how do you get events on campus? How do you book rooms? Who do you talk to? I had a work study with the assistant provost for technology. So being connected with her and being able to be mentored by her, who still mentors me today, has been great. So I think that's probably sums up the most memorable. I feel like I can't pick one thing But that's like the sum of everything, because that's where I met amazing people like you and people in other organizations and people in the dorms and the dorm director. So I think just being involved and talking to people was the highlight. And that sums up everything. One thing that actually comes to mind, which is, I wouldn't say it's the most memorable, but it is one memorable thing that happens during your freshman year, is Battle of the States, of course. I still go on YouTube and watch that video. Being a freshman and just being acclimated to traditions in Hampton, and being a participant in Battle of the States, and just the energy in Ogden, it was crazy. So, and I think that really, started a bond with a lot of different people too, as a first year in college. So that's a tough question, Wanda. I don't know if I answered it, but I would say the involvement really, really probably is the most memorable thing that I can think of.
Yeah, I definitely agree, Britt. I feel like the involvement, like she said, the involvement leading to relationships is just so impactful and is valuable, especially like after you leave, because we all know how strong the Hampton network is. And a lot of times, like I definitely tap into it when it comes to just career or advice or guidance. I I really love how strong the network is. So, it's definitely something to think about, and it's something that I am glad to experience, is the relationships. And Brittany mentioning Battle of the States is just like, when you think about all that culture in one place, right? Like, Wanda, you mentioned Hampton being magical, like it's like Wakanda. Like for college students, and especially when you first step on campus, and then to experience all of that, and be a part of making that magic, that is so like, that's so crazy, and it's so like, it's dope to me. So I definitely would agree with what Brittany said, and just being involved in so many things. And when you first introduced us in our bios, you had mentioned that we both, we have separate paths, but we both want to change the world. And it's exciting to hear you say that and notice that, because that's always been the mission. So for us to be involved in so many things at Hampton, it was like a chance to touch so many people in so many different ways. And like I said, just having a role in making that magic was just something that I will never forget. And it's something that, sticks with me to this day. So I would definitely say all the organizations that we were in, even like, Delta, Wanda, like being on campus and just kind of work with so many dynamic women, especially now, this is the era of the Black woman. So just working with so many Black women at HBCU. And of course, like building the mind ministry with my sister, and just really creating a lane in that space. I think it was just, it's like, can we go back for like a weekend?
Yeah, just take us back post COVID.
If we had like homecoming in 2022, like I feel like that's gonna be the biggest homecoming of the decade, because everybody will probably go back. So we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm sure people have their fits ready, and things that they weren't able to launch for the last 2 years. They'll bring it out, maybe change their outfits every 5 minutes to make up for lost time. Yeah. But no, I absolutely agree. I think the involvement that you all had at Hampton was immense. Um, and I do want to also mention that you all won the most prestigious award, right? At graduation.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. You guys are being so modest. Care to share the name of this award?
Yeah, so I can share. So we both won, along with another senior, the President's Award. So this is the highest award given to a graduating senior at Hampton University. And we went through a series of interviews and, just speaking to people, talking about our work and our accomplishments during our time at Hampton. And we were both fortunate, thankfully, to be presented this award by Dr. Harvey, Hampton University's president. And yeah, that was definitely a more memorable moment for sure. Just all the graduation events during that week, or during graduation week, and receiving this award before that, it just, it just made everything worth it that
Mhm.
we, were involved in on campus, and the experience even more, you know, um, touching, I guess. So yeah, that was one of the awards that we both were fortunate to win. So we were very thankful and honored to receive that.
Yeah. It was definitely at the beginning of the process, it was definitely kind of like nerve-wracking because it's just like you're being honored by the president of the university, and it's a process, like Brittany said, of I think we had to write an essay. Yeah, we definitely had to write an essay. It was kind of like a solution-based essay for the university, and then we went through a series of interviews. Um, and it's just like to see your hard work and the fruits of your labor, um, for a lack of a better phrase, not go to waste, and to see that come together is just like, wow, it's amazing. And plus it made us look smart. So I'm like, that's a win-win. We were involved and we look smart. So yeah, it was great. It was great. And it's crazy to say, like I said, it was 5 years ago that we received that. So
Yeah. No, I was so excited for you all because you're beyond deserving. You're able to balance extreme involvement in multiple organizations and still maintain excellent grades. That says a lot. I think that is what a lot of students aspire to be, and how they want to go through their experience. And you all were able to achieve that. And what I love most about the two of you is, when you have a conversation with you, you're very humble. You would never know that you have a list of accomplishments. And people like that, they go really far in life because they don't get too ahead of themselves. They're all constantly, looking back, reaching out, touching lives, bringing people along as they're climbing. And I think that's immensely inspiring for me, as I'm on this journey as well, looking to hopefully make a difference in the world. So all the more reason why I wanted to have you on this podcast, because your story is so amazing. And yeah, I know I think I might have shared this with you. I don't know. I can't
still
remember.
keeping at those conversations, but it's always nice to, be affirmed by others, and just, and I'm sure, like all of us, we want to be recognized, and we want our hard work to be recognized. And it's an inspiration. That's definitely what keeps us going, because a lot of the work that we do isn't necessarily for us. It's for others, and it's to inspire others along this journey. And I know how cliche that sounds nowadays, but it's really true. Like,
Mhm.
it's just, even the smallest things, like, I just hope that it inspires and empowers someone to just go after what they want to go after. And then, of course, not just like showing them, but also helping them along the way, and giving them, you know, game, I would say, and helping them along the way. So that's always been the goal. So it's always nice to hear that. And we appreciate you, Wanda. The feelings are mutual. Like, we are inspired by so many people, specifically you, definitely, as you kind of like, take on this journey of podcasting. And like, it's just, the things that we always aim to do, and just us, recognizing our dreams and going after them, that's empowering within itself. So we appreciate you.
Oh, thanks. Thanks.
If I can
Um,
quickly add,
yeah, go ahead, Britt.
I definitely appreciate that, and I remember all the talks we've had.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like we
Uh,
had a few conversations, Britt.
Yeah, we had a few conversations, but I just really want to quickly add, you spoke about us and how impressive we are, and a list of things that we've been blessed to accomplish. But, we really have, and I truly say this, like, admired you and your work ethic, and, how you've done things over the years, just being your friend, and, being around you on campus. I have mentioned to each other a lot of times, like, Wanda is, she's going to be successful. She's going to do this. She's going to do that. So I've honestly taken a lot of inspiration and tips from you, and how I've been moving forward, even through college and past college, to where I am today. So I can honestly, truly say you have really touched us, whether you know it or not, and just how you do a lot of things. So it is, as I mentioned before, it wasn't surprising when I found out that you were doing a podcast, and, talking to so many great people, because you're a great person to talk to. So I just want to quickly mention that.
Oh,
And Wanda,
thank
you're a
you.
whole doctor. Come on
Oh.
now.
Right.
Like, come
Let's
on.
not leave that out.
Thanks, guys. Thanks. That's why I love HBCUs. We're always going to support one another.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as you know, in 2020, a lot of folks, we already knew about HBCUs, but a lot of individuals started to realize the power and the greatness that lies in HBCUs. So what are your thoughts about the increase of donations and support that we're receiving from external companies, and even Jeff Bezos' wife, she donated a large amount of money to Hampton and some other HBCUs. What are your thoughts about all this?
Overall, I just hope, to be honest, I just hope it's not performative or temporary. Like, it's so good to see HBCUs be recognized, and HBCU alumni, or and current students, alumni and current students, to definitely be seen as qualified candidates for jobs and things. When I was at Hampton, I was an HBCU All-Star under the Obama administration. Let me make that clear. And our goal was to definitely prove that HBCU students can compete with any student across the world. And I think people are seeing that. And now, like I said, it's the era of the Black women, but it's also like people are really trying to work with Black brands, Black creators, Black leaders. And what better place to seek those people than at HBCUs. And I'm proud of it. I think I was young in the 90s, but I also feel like it was kind of, how celebrities were wearing HBCU gear and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it was kind of the same thing, like HBCU were like recognized on a global scale back in the 90s. And I feel like it probably went down and now it's back up. I just hope it stays up. Mm-hmm. And people will continue to contribute and recognize HBCUs and its students, but also continue to give back, because HBCUs are definitely in need of funding. So yeah, I really hope it's here to stay. Long answer made short.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I just wanted to add that HBCUs are being given the support that they have long deserved, and so it's great to actually see the support from different people, different places. And I agree with Whitney. Hopefully it's long lasting and it's from a genuine place to really truly help, especially during the time that we're going through now, the pandemic. So I think it's great, and I just hope it continues to increase, not decrease, but continue to increase, and because excellence are at HBCUs. So yeah.
As you were transitioning from Hampton into the quote unquote real world, did you experience any challenges?
I'll go first on this one. Definitely experienced challenges. Like we said, just talking about our experience at Hampton, we were very involved. We balanced grades, good grades. I knew that I kind of didn't want to take that into my career, especially since I went into an agency. And for those people who have worked at an agency, are familiar with an agency, it is definitely demanding. It's time consuming, especially being at a PR agency. So that's why I started my career. And it was challenging to balance it all. I mean, it wasn't like I was doing, activities outside of work, but I was, working on several accounts, like 7 accounts at a time, which meant working with 7 teams, 7 different personalities, well, more than 7 personalities, because usually the teams are pretty small. So let's say like 5 people on the team. So it was challenging in that aspect, just kind of like entering the work environment and learning how to navigate that specific industry in that specific space. So that was a challenge for me. I definitely learned a lot at my first job about PR, about people, about work politics. And that's something that, that experience overall has groomed me to be the entrepreneur that I am today. So I would say that's one challenge for sure. And, just kind of like figuring out how to maneuver corporate America because, our parents weren't necessarily in corporate America. My mom owns a hair salon. My dad, he does work like at, warehouses and things like that. So we didn't really have that guidance. So it was a mentor that I gained at my first job that really, really helped me navigate those waters and be like, look, this is what you do. This is what you don't do. This is how you handle this conversation. This is how, you should move. So I would say looking back, that has been, a challenge of mine is not stretching myself too thin and balancing it all.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I think for me, that was something I had to adjust with as well. At Hampton, kind of wanted to do everything, but then I realized that I'm getting older. I can't move as quickly. I have to start narrowing my interests and do things that are aligned with my interests. And also just make time for other things outside of work. So
Mhm.
that was something I had to understand. But wait, I know you moved to New York.
Mhm.
So was that a major transition for you as well? How did that how did that pan out, and how did you communicate that with Brittany?
Yeah.
And when you communicated it, Brittany, if you want to chime in, like how did you feel? Because that was probably your first time kind of doing things separately, right? Location wise.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I don't know, Brittany, do you want to go ahead and say how you feel and then I follow up?
I gave her permission to go. um, no, I think so we had done so yes, that was the first time we were actually separate location wise. For a long period of time. We both had done internships over the summer while in college. And I studied abroad one summer. So, we gradually had different experiences where we were apart at times. But when she moved to New York, I moved to Atlanta. It was definitely the first time we were separate, and it was new, very, very new, because I was so used to, being around her, and especially I was at grad school when I finished Hampton. So, being in school with someone, Whitney and I were roommates at Hampton, of course. So, not having her, you know, in school with me was very different, some to adjust to. But even when I had a chance to study abroad while I was at Hampton, we had talked every day, and now we still talk every day. So it just changed the nature of, our communication. We had, I think the first time that we had seen each other since we had graduated, it was for homecoming, Hampton's homecoming. Whitney was in the parade. Um, and somebody, I think my mom or my aunt, had noted, like, you two haven't seen each other in, like, 4 months or so, and we hadn't even realized it because we picked up right where we left off. It didn't even feel like that we had not been around each other for that long. So it just showed that we're still remaining connected, and even to this day, we can go a while without seeing each other, especially with this pandemic. We haven't it's been periods of time where we haven't seen each other. So yeah, I think it was very different to not really be around her for a long period of time. But we've adjusted.
Mhm.
One day we'll come back together, right, Whitney?
Yeah, one day. For sure, absolutely. I think that's always been the goal, right? Like we was like, we're going our separate ways now, but ultimately we're probably gonna come back together and do something together, because I feel like, we're a movement by ourselves, but we're a force and we're together.
Okay,
Yep.
okay, dropping bars.
But no, definitely, Brittany definitely gave me permission to go to New York because she's very protective over me. So, I remember having conversations with my family and just saying, like, I'm moving to New York, because when I first went to New York, it was for my internship at my job. And I was offered a full-time job when I was graduating from Hampton, but I decided to take the internship in New York. And I was hired after the summer internship was over, and I was like, okay, I'm officially moving to New York. And they were like, it's your life, do what you want, especially since, my parents let my sister Brittany go to the UK. I'm like, oh, it's fair game now. Like, if I go to New York, like, you can't keep me home after you let her go across the world. So yeah, she definitely was just like, be safe out there. She always tells me that, which it's like, you're in the city by yourself as well. But it was definitely a transition moving to New York. But it wasn't a huge transition because I knew that anywhere I went was going to be different from Surrey County. Surrey is a small town of about 7,000 people, very community oriented, family oriented. Like the people who went to school with my mom, like know each other, and then I know their children. Like it's very, very close knit. So I knew that anywhere else would be different. And I hadn't really visited New York. Well, at Hampton, we took like 2 media trips to New York, and I got a feel for the city, but it wasn't like living here. So I was ready to, basically adjust to whatever and conquer whatever and just, take on the city and take everything it had to offer. I was really focused on, just creating opportunity. That's my main reason, for moving to New York 6 years ago, is creating opportunity, connecting and building relationships. And I said, even with like the trains and the hassle and the trash in New York City, it's like, this is what I'm here for. And, looking back over the past 6 years, it's like, man, I really have done that as best as I know how. So um, overall, it was a transition, but I was ready for it because I knew that it was going to be different. And I'm typically a person that, adjusts well to different environments and circumstances. So I just, did what was best for me. A lot of times I practice solitude because once you step out of your apartment, it's like New York City and the world and chaos. So it took me about a year to really, really find that peace in my home. And, that's why I go to, once I step into my apartment, it's like, okay, like this is my space. This is my sanctuary, so to speak. And, finding that peace. Like I go to the water when it's warm in Brooklyn and just, sit by the water and regain that peace, because working in PR and living in New York, those are like, it's a chaotic industry and it's a chaotic city. So I think that was the hardest transition, is just finding that inner peace. But once I found it, it was like, okay, I could always go back to that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you touched on the opportunity that you had to go to New York for an internship, and Brittany also having the opportunity to go to the University of Oxford for her study abroad program. Would you say that, and each of you, I'm sure you have your own responses, but would you say that you've always wanted to be in PR communications? And Britt, for you, did you always want to be in STEM?
For me, PR definitely it aligns with what I wanted to do. During NSO week, New Student Orientation Week, we had a session at Scripps Howard, which is a journalism school at Hampton, and they offered 3 programs, right? Broadcast journalism, print journalism, and public relations. And I came into Hampton wanting to study broadcast journalism because I wanted to be on ESPN. I wanted to be a sportscaster. That's what I thought I wanted to do. And then when they were going through like, the opportunities for each program, PR made the most money. So I was like, okay. And then PR had more like opportunities. It was kind of more broad. So, like we said, we like doing a bunch of stuff. And I just knew that I wanted to be in media and communications because I knew what it did for me as a child, like looking at print campaigns, looking at TV, looking at, magazines. It inspired me and helped me actually visualize the life that I wanted to live. And once I recognized that and how powerful that was, I wanted to be in it. So, I didn't necessarily say I wanted to be in PR. Like I honestly didn't understand what PR was until I got at an agency and was like, okay, this is what we doing. This is what time we on. But looking back, I would definitely say like it aligns because, being a publicist and being in PR, you can kind of shape those narratives to put out into the world. So ultimately, yeah, I definitely think this was my lane to go in. Obviously the avenue is ever evolving, but it's the perfect fit for me.
What about for you, Britt?
So for me, did I always want to go into STEM? So when I had first went to undergrad, I had I didn't know anybody in, computer science. So my background is computer science. I got my degree in undergrad at Hampton in computer science. And so I didn't know anybody in the field. And the thing about computer science is, you deal with software, you deal with what's on the computer. And originally when I got to Hampton, I had applied to be computer engineering major. And I went and talked with different professors, looked at the curriculum and figured out I didn't like anything or any other classes on the curriculum. So that's when I chose to do computer science. And I think that, originally growing up, I was, very involved in the community. As Whitney said, Surrey is very close-knit, community related, town or county. And so I was very involved in the community. And also I had an interest in technology. I really love math. And so I was very good at it. And so I had a guidance counselor that actually encouraged me to look into engineering, look into STEM. And I didn't really know much about it. So I looked into it. I took a class my senior year of high school. The first time they offered like a technology class and programming. We built a website, we like built a robot, things like that in tech. And I was like, okay, I kind of like this. I may want to pursue this in college. And so, as I stated, I had got to college, looked at the curriculum and chose to do computer science. And I've been ever since, figuring out how to merge my love and passion for community and my interest and my passion for technology. And because I've always searched for it, I've had an abundance of opportunities that I've been grateful for that has helped me to learn what things are offered and what I can do on this career path. And also, how I can shape and maneuver it to be what I want it to be. So to answer your question directly, I didn't always know I would do computer science. I really think that, God has placed me on this path. And, with every opportunity I've been afforded, I've been able to kind of figure out what I want to do. And I'm still working through that. I think we all change, and our interest changes. We get to know more and learn more. And then, we know how we want to move forward. And so, yeah, I've just been, blessed to be able to be on this path and to really, in my role as a doctoral researcher, PhD student now, I get to ask and answer those questions that a lot of people may not ask and answer in computing. So it's very much has been an enlightening journey. And, I think I really caught my place of like where I want to be and where I want to go. So
That's good. That's good to hear because I remember, back at Hampton, you were still exploring that. So it's nice to see you evolve and slowly understand what it is that you want to do and how you want to make an impact. And reading your bio, what I found was really interesting is that you have discovered that within Black and Brown communities, data literacy needs to be improved. Can you talk a little bit about that and what your goals are?
yeah, so my work right now, in data literacy, I work with primarily Black individuals currently. And so I lead or I help support research efforts for a program at Georgia Tech where we partner with different community organizations and helping to carve new pathways and, envision new pathways to data literacy. And so really what we do is, data literacy and data, everybody doesn't have access to it, or a lot of people know about it. And data has so much power in the world today. So how can we really broaden access and be able to allow those communities that, may be minoritized or, underserved, underrepresented in the field to really learn about it and to figure out how to leverage it to even solve problems that may be of interest to them, whether personally or in their community. And so data, is a big thing that's being talked about right now, but we really want to make sure that we make sure that everybody has access to it. And also, when people teach data, especially also, computing in general, the field of computing in general, it's very in a very distinct way or like a specific way you teach it and how you go about it. And so we really want to look at how can we make it different and reimagine it, how we teach data and data literacy to other people. And so I've been looking at some themes such as Afrofuturism and I do a lot of participatory design workshops where I collaborate with the individuals to really make sure we design and center and focus what do they think data is and how we can make data literacy better. So it's really rewarding thing to really explore and to ask and answer questions about. because, you know, like I said, data is really big now. We want to make sure everybody has access. So it's really, really interesting.
Yeah, that's amazing, Britt, and I'm excited to see what you do next, especially once you're done with school, because I feel like you've been in school for the last decade. So I'm looking forward to watching you cross that stage and you become Dr. Brittany Johnson. That's going to be such a eventful and beautiful day. Um,
Thank you.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Something that I've just been curious, with your relationship with Whitney, since technology is your strong suit, Whitney, does Brittany help you at all with like your website or any of like technical difficulties you may run into?
I'm actually trying to hire Brittany, but I don't know if she's trying to work for me.
No, with you.
No, I'm joking. Yeah, we're gonna work together eventually. But yeah, I mean, I really try to allow her to focus, especially since she's trying to earn her PhD. I allow her to focus on her work and not bother her with my demands. But a lot of times, like, she is the tech person of the household, even for like my mom, me. Like, she was helping me with something yesterday, something simple, and she was like, "Girl, just do this," and it worked. So a lot of times it's just those small things, but of course, like, I think I could see us for sure just kind of combining, my experience in media and her experience in tech, and just, making something happen. But for right now, I'm like, okay, make sure you get this degree for the family, she has definitely been in school for a decade, Wanda. That's crazy. But yeah, I try not to bother her too much.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're also busy with your own, moves and interests. You started the Story House. Can you talk a little bit about that? What sparked that whole journey?
Yeah, it's actually it's been a journey. Like I said, I started my career out at a PR agency in New York City, and then I stayed there for a couple of years. Learned a lot about people, PR, and work politics. And I just kind of decided to dive into marketing a bit more into the digital space, because where I was, it was a traditional PR agency. So I went into kind of freelancing, and I didn't really plan to be an entrepreneur so soon. I knew that I wanted to control the narratives that I put out into the world. One professor at Hampton, Professor Butler, he used to say, "Those control the outlet, control the message." I think I have that right, but that really stuck with me. So in order to control the message, I had to control the outlet. So I was freelancing and picking up projects, and I was getting clients on my own, like, really through relationships. And I was like, you know what? I'm picking up clients on my own. Like, it's not with a specific company, even though, some projects I pick up are with companies. And I was like, you know what? I just might as well make this into, a company and put these clients under that umbrella. So I really had, over the past few years, and like I said on Instagram, it's been 4 years in the making, since I started this journey of entrepreneurship. And I really just have been focused on doing the work and building, my profile, I guess, in a way where it's like I've done incredible work. And I really haven't been focused on like elevating the company, so to speak. So finally, last year, 2020, like around May 2020, I finally got my LLC. I was like, okay, a few months before that, I took a entrepreneurship class, an incubator class, to go through all the steps of building a business. And now I'm just like, all right, Whitney, like, you got the projects. Is the work isn't limited. You're getting the projects, you're getting the clients. You're making things happen. Like, let's really take it a step further and be this businesswoman, and just walk into that power. So it really wasn't planned to happen so early, but I'm just grateful. And like I said, it's been a journey, but along the way, it has been checkpoints to confirm that I'm on the right path. And I'm grateful. I'm walking in gratitude and just figuring it out, honestly.
Yeah, so speaking of checkpoints, if you don't mind me plugging your your agency here. So Whitney has been funded by the NAACP, Be Good, and Beyonce herself to change the world. So how does that feel with
Um,
Wow. Wow. Amazing.
you know
Yes.
what? No, I appreciate you. Like I said, I'm just walking in gratitude. It really was something that, like, it made me look back and be like, you know what, it's been a journey, but it's been worth it. And that sounds cliche too, but it definitely has been worth it. And it just gives you more, it gives more elevation to your purpose, right? Like, um, it will definitely allow me to scale up my business, and get the resources that I need to really, really take it to the next level. And like, all I can say is that I'm grateful. I'm grateful. And it is definitely a huge major checkpoint, to keep going, and, and to really, really affirm that I'm on the right path, and that, it's bigger than me ultimately. So yeah, it's a blessing. Hopefully many more grants to come.
Yes, yes. I know your parents and your whole tribe back in Surrey County. They're so happy to see you both exceed
Yeah.
in your various industries. And I think that's, again, that's what's so beautiful about the two of you. You do completely different things, but you're still managing to make a difference. You're also making a difference with underserved populations. And I think that's very, very remarkable. So kudos to you. And um, another question I have for you is around mentorship. So I know you both mentioned a few names of individuals that played a role in your journey. Can you talk a little bit about how you found your mentors, and if you have any advice for folks that are seeking mentors, how can they best identify them?
Yeah, I'll take this one first. Yeah, I hear a lot of people talk about mentor and mentee and mentorship. Honestly, the way I've gotten my mentors is through work. So my first mentor in my career, um, she, like I had mentioned, she is a Black woman, and she was at my first job, and she really took me under her wing and just helped me navigate corporate America. And she was real, like, well, she is real, I should say. She does not cut corners. She, she shows that love, and she shows that discipline. And it was really appreciated, because that's what I knew, like, going to corporate America, it was different. It didn't look familiar. It didn't look like home. And she made it a little bit more homey. And I owe her a lot to this day. So, she just really took it upon herself to take me under her wing and really guide me along, my journey, um, throughout my career. And then my other mentors, and I should say, that mentor, I'm gonna shout her out, Latoya Desir. She's amazing. And then I have another mentor named Femi Kirby, and Femi Kirby. And we met, probably, I was connected with her through another mentor who I'll mention soon, but she has been in my life for about 5 or 6 years. And, I started, just, it was just casual conversation talking about the industry. She's in PR. And then it led to, like, me working on a project with her. And now it's like, we meet up, for dinner, and she's building her business and I'm building mine. And she really gives me the game. And it's just like, these women who really are selfless, and they have no problem with seeing me win. Like, I admire that so much, and it really, really empowers me as a mentor, because, like, Femi, I'm like, how do you do this? And she will really go step by step, and like, this is how you do this. Like, you list this out, like, you have this conversation, you have this pitch ready. And like, even down to like contracts, it's like, okay, like, she's building her business, but she's helping me build mine too. So it's like, those women who really, really pour themselves into seeing me win is just so greatly appreciated. And then, just to name some people, like, I really, with people I work with, I really aim to build relationships. And I don't want to start name calling, then I miss a name, but um, everybody who I currently work with, like, women, like, I'll say Ivy McGregor, who I work with, who really, shows me, how to be a businesswoman and how to be in leadership. And then, I have friends who are colleagues, John Leslie. I've worked with a woman who connected me with Femi Dupe. So it's a lot of people who I owe a lot to. But it all happened through work. and just proving that I can do the work. I think a lot of times being, just transitioning to the second part of your question, not being too long-winded. The other part is just, being a mentee is just like, a lot of time being a mentor takes a lot of time. So I think I was able to gain these mentors by proving that I could do the work. And that's why I've gained these mentors through my career. It's just like, oh, they see me working, they see me putting in the effort, and then they feel compelled to guide me along the way.
Yeah, I would say for me, I also don't want to start naming names because then I'm gonna forget somebody. But I've had a lot of mentors definitely throughout my career that I've gone to for big decisions, where I want to go to school, like what internship should I take. They've placed me on panels, national panels, and just a lot of things. So it's definitely has been rewarding to have such mentors that care and really want to see you succeed. And I've often been told the difference between mentor and a sponsor. You want to have sponsors as well who are in those rooms that can actually put you and put a good word in for you so you can get different positions or different opportunities. And so I've had mentors and sponsors that have really truly supported me and cared for me and my development and who I am and where I go in the future. So they have really been influential to me in my life for sure. So they all know who they are. They all play different and very important roles in my life and in my career. So I couldn't thank them enough.
Thanks for your responses. I think that's a good place to end the conversation. Really just honing in on the fact that you can't do everything by yourself. It takes a village. You all
Yep.
stand on the shoulders of phenomenal individuals that, like Whitney said, decided to pour into you, and in return you're pouring into others. So it's beautiful to see, and I'm happy to be on this journey with you all. To close out, I do want to play a fun game just to see where your head is at in 2021. All right, you guys ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Hampton or Howard?
Hampton, what?
Of course.
All right. I just wanted to make sure we were all clear. Nothing has changed since people graduated. Okay. Heels or sneakers?
Sneakers.
Sneakers. But I will say really quickly, like, we're sneaker heads, but I'll throw on some heels. So we can do both. Like, let's not get it twisted. We can do both, but definitely sneakers.
The city or the country?
Country. Country born and bred,
I'll say city. I'm gonna say city in this period of my life. I'm gonna say city.
Whitney.
Wow. Okay. Maybe hopefully your mom stops listening after the sneakers and the heels conversation. Instagram or LinkedIn?
Instagram.
Yeah.
Instagram. Okay. Beyonce or Rihanna?
Beyonce.
I love Rihanna, but Beyonce.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
That's interesting, Brittany. I feel like most people in STEM, they prefer Android.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I'm different. I don't know. I've seen both, but
she with the culture.
Yeah.
So
phone call or text?
I would say text. I do not like cold calls, even though I have to take them, but I really rather somebody text me, honestly.
I would say both. Oh, we have to choose one. Text, and then we can talk on the phone.
Yeah.
It depends on who it is. So text for all people.
Okay. What about for Whitney?
Phone call, FaceTime.
Yeah.
All right, last question. So once we get out this pandemic, would you rather take a beach vacation or a city vacation?
A beach vacation, because I've been working so much. I haven't been on a beach in about 2 years, which is really sad, but a beach vacation for sure.
Beach vacation. I like calmness and stillness and reflection. So definitely beach vacation.
Nice. Well, thanks, ladies, for joining. And I'm so happy to have reconnected and had this conversation with you all this morning. And thanks for all the gems that you dropped. I think I also learned a lot about, how to utilize mentors and how to navigate in this ever evolving world. And I appreciate your time today. And you know how much I love you. You know how much I'm inspired by you. And I'm excited to see the next things that you do in your career.
Thanks, Wanda. We love you too. And we haven't called you Wandeezy yet, so we had to drop that. But we love you. Thank you so much for having us on and inspiring us all.
Yes, I share the same sentiments. We love you and we really appreciate and are honored that you even, thought of us to have us today. So we appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Just Win with Wanda. And special thanks to our guest speakers, the Johnson twins, for joining us. Show this podcast love by leaving me a review and hitting subscribe today. If you would like to reach out to me, feel free to follow me on Instagram at Just Win with Wanda. Catch you on the next episode. Have a great week. Bye.